Mentira, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, you gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show live stream and podcast. How are you this morning? Hope you're well on this, the second day of 2024. Thank you very much for this lovely image that was sent in to us that I now can't find. I've sent some pictures of corks. Oh, here we go. I thought I'd already loaded it onto the picture deck. Here it is. The only problem with this picture is that those are all French corks. So let's do our best this year, shall we? To support the Portuguese wine industry. More about the Portuguese wine industry in just a moment when we have a look at the new refreshed website. Wine, I don't know if it's production or sales, but up 10% and much more in certain parts of the country. This morning, we've got Bruce Hawker joining us from Open Media and, of course, the publisher, owner of the Portugal Resident with a selection of good news stories. We've got some Tony time at 9. And the man in the Minho, Antonio Barbosa, joins us from Infinite Solutions at 9. And at 9:30, a lovely little tour of the north of Portugal. Do you remember yesterday, John was mentioning how he wants to pop across the Spanish border, I believe this is, to these Roman baths, or the ruins of these Roman baths, because I imagine they were a lot more palatial in the time of their, when they were optimally operating, and centurions or whoever, legionnaires, Roman congressmen were bathing themselves in those pools there. And he'll be telling us more about this tour and the north of Portugal and other plans that he's got for touring, because that was one of the lovely resolutions yesterday, wasn't it, on that list, to do more road trips. I think that's a great idea. We'll be doing that as the Good Morning Portugal community this year. In the pipeline, in the near pipeline, as well as Braga in May. I've got to get my finger out and organise a few things for Braga in May, and look at when our next San Martinho de Porto event in the spring here in 2024, and the revisiting of the first event that we did last November. So we've got those. We've got Braga in May, we've got a spring San Martinho de Porto, and we've got a November San Martinho de Porto, our home fixture. In 2 weeks' time, or thereabouts, just over 2 weeks' time, we'll be in Caldas de Rainha, and we'll be filming with Mama Anila of Flavors of India in Caldas de Rainha, where she'll be showing us what she does in the kitchen, and then we'll be having a lunch with Gumpers on the 17th of, that's Wednesday the 17th, actually, Wednesday the 17th of January. So there's a few more places left if you want to join us. €25, including soft drinks, and an introduction to the beautiful food that's being made by Mama Anila, and hanging out with the Gumpers over there. And of course, on the fourth Wednesday, the last, is that going to be the last? How many Wednesdays are there? Oh, there's 5 Wednesdays in this month. So on the 24th, we'll be back at the Storytellers Palace for our networking dinner there. So looking for, or networking lunch, I should say, 3-course lunch. It was superb last time. Let me think. What did I have? Working backwards, a beautiful cheesecake made by Marco. We had tempura polvo with seafood rice. Good morning and happy birthday to you, Minnie. Minnie's birthday today. She is. Minnie is 8 this morning. How are you this morning? There she is. Hello, darling. Looking forward to a nice day out today. We're heading off after the show. So happy birthday to you, Min. Parabéns a você. And the other bit with Macarita. I'm going to learn that. We're all going to learn that this year, aren't we? How to sing happy birthday in Portuguese. Happy birthday, Min. See you soon. Where was I? Yeah, I was at the Storytellers Palace. That'd be a nice place to take Minnie tonight, wouldn't it, for a slap-up dinner? Yeah, we start at noon in the Gatsby bar and then lunch at 1. Yes, it was cheesecake. It was How did that? Where's that cat noise coming from? Service. Got a cat stuck in the studio now. Yes, polvo tempura with a seafood rice and a lovely dip of can't remember. It's like a salsa dip. It was, and the starter was extraordinary. Something I'd never had before anywhere in the world, let alone here in Portugal. It was a melon soup, a chilled melon soup with some prosciutto in it. That was excellent. So join us on the fourth Wednesday if you'd like in San Martinho de Porto. And of course, yeah, the Strong Beers Festival. We're going there at the end of the month in Coimbra. And when I was chatting to Bobby about that before, the Strong Beers Festival, it sounds like a competition, doesn't it? Where the beers themselves will be competing with each other. Mindful dad joke has come in. I don't always think I'm enlightened, but when I do, I'm not. I'm feeling especially chilled this morning, and that was a nice reminder. Thank you very much there, James, this morning. I don't always think I'm enlightened, but when I do, I'm not. Ego. What's that? Is that kind of wine? Ego wine. I don't think that's a Portuguese one, is it? Yes, happy birthday, Minnie. Thank you very much, João. We'll see you later on at 9:30. Leela is in as well, and Tom Smith. We'll say hello to each and every one of you this morning, and James, and Coach Turner, and Deagle. We've got T-Duck is on a mission this morning, but we won't be joined by him and his material. However, I do have something that I forgot. I neglected to mention yesterday. And we've got a deep thought of the day that I forgot in my haste and excitement yesterday, first live stream of the year. Forgot to say, I've got to let that cat out of the room. Or shall I shout for Mrs. M? All right, let's see if that works. Did you hear me shouting then? Deep thought of the day then. Great people talk about ideas. Average people talk about them. Any chance of a glass of water as well? Sure. I neglected to get myself one. Thank you very much. The cat has now left the studio. Great people talk about ideas, average people talk about themselves, and small people talk about others. John C. Maxwell. Now, John Calvin Maxwell is an American author, speaker, and pastor who has written many books, primarily focusing on leadership. So there you go, deep thought of the day. Great people talk about ideas, average people talk about themselves, and small people talk about others. Touch of the old ego there again. Let's see what the coach has got for us this morning. And how were those fireworks last night, Coach T? We did confirm, after all. Thanks, Mrs. M. Copa de Agua there. Thank you very much. Yes, we did confirm that the Chroma fireworks were indeed happening last night. I thought that might have been a mistake, but no, Chroma fireworks. How were they, Coach T? Bom dia, Gumpers. E feliz terça. Confusion today. The start of the week, yet it's Tuesday. Yes, that happens, doesn't it, with these bank holiday Mondays? Maybe a 4-day week should become a thing. I think it will, you know. Life as we know it is changing, isn't it? Quite rapidly at the moment. So that could well be. Is it going to be UBI? Is it going to be universal basic income and a shorter working week? A lot of people, I mean, I'm not being unfair, I think, but this whole sort of presenteeism thing will be giving way, I think, to getting the job done, won't it? You know, project-based, outcome-based, and not having to be there from 9 or whatever. I mean, if you're American, from being there from 7 in the morning till 7 in the evening, just to show that you're doing your job. Presumably your results can speak for you. And if you can get the results that you've been contracted to get, and you can do that in any time, any amount of time, that should be fine, shouldn't it? Rather than having to be there all the time and hanging. What was it? Is it what was his name? Charles Handy, the empty raincoat. The idea, I think it was, that British executives in the 70s and 80s used to hang their coat up in the office in a very visible way. I'm here. Look, my coat is hanging up in the office. Doesn't say anything at all, does it, about productivity and efficiency? So maybe the 4-day or the 3-day week or outcomes will be the important thing, not presenteeism. Good point there this morning, Coach Turner. And your God Squad tip of the day, then we'll come back to you in just a moment, Deagle. Hope you're feeling better this morning. God Squad tip of the day. Sprinters spend a lot of time and effort perfecting their technique. It has always seemed odd to me that distance runners don't do the same. They run a lot more steps. So if you're starting to run, I believe you should try to nail the technique before learning a lot of bad habits. What a great idea. Here's a simple drill to help. It's like on your marks, get set, go, isn't it? For the running tips this morning from Coach Turner. Standing with your feet together, with your weight on the balls of your feet, start to jog, but cycle your feet as if you were riding a bike. Think of your feet going in a circle. I'm feeling that. Then, as you begin to land with each step, push upward and extend your leg until it is almost straight. Runners are most efficient when their hips are high. Think of your head attached to a balloon as well. Practice for 20 to 30 meters, then walk back and repeat a few times. Yes, again, it's the is it the ego, but it's the mind that thinks it can run and just starts anyway. And here we have a bit of mindful athletics here, don't we? Thinking about your technique, considering your technique, reflecting on your technique before you commit yourself to the running there that some of you might, with the encouragement of Coach Turner this morning and this week. And from T-Duck, I found a new exercise that I can do every day. It's called diddly squats. Yes, diddly squats. How about, I think we'll be having a few people putting their hands up for diddly squats this morning. Let's see who else is here today. Deagle, we saw you popping in earlier on. Felicia Novel Ano. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpus from a dark, damp Belfast. 7 degrees, should hit 11. So looking forward to 3 trips out to Portugal in 2024 in April, August and October. Fantastic. Maybe we can meet up when you're doing that. Maybe we can do one of the Algarve trips. One of our discovery weekends in the Algarve in maybe August or October, maybe even April, Digger. What do you think about that? It'd be lovely to meet you in real life. Bom dia, Gampas from James. Feliz dias a todos. Como estão? Tudo bem? From James this morning. Great job yesterday, hitting the ground with some mindful migration insight yesterday. Thank you, James. And your mindful moment this morning, the point of life is not to get anywhere. It is to notice that you are and have always been already there. You are always and forever in the moment of pure creation. This from Neil Donald Walsh. The point of life is therefore to create who and what you are and then to experience that. Loving the cut of the philosophical and spiritual jib this morning. Great way to go into the new year. Leela's here. Good morning, Portugal. How are you doing, Leela? And Tom Smith, good morning. From the 1.609344 kilometer high city, Denver, Colorado. Your fellow Coloradian, is that what you call yourselves, is on later at 9:30. That's João de Norte. I have an early flight, so I would catch this live for once. Nice one, Tom. Good to see you here. Thank you for saying hi. And João de Norte with a bon dia y bem-vindo ao 2024, everybody. And is anyone here in the community an expert with Interrail travel? Let's find out. And if not, let's look into it together, John. I'd really like to learn more myself about Interrail. I know that with the Portuguese rail system company, CP.pt, they do some really good deals traveling across the rest. They had a ticket offer last year, didn't they? A really good deal traveling around Europe. Very good value. So let's find out more about that together. Gary Mills also in this morning. Bon dia, Gumpers. And happy birthday, Minnie. 8 years of age today. I think 8 is the heart and center of childhood. Alas, it only lasts a few short years indeed. And Ocean Dweller Aviva is here. Hola, GMP, Jim, shopping this morning. Let's hope 2024 brings light and peace. Yes, let it begin with us, Aviva, and start the year by smashing the like button. Bruce Hawker joining us in a minute or so. I wanted to just show you something. We have a newly refurbed website, which I think is quite good, with some news headlines on. We won't go there because Bruce is covering the news for us this morning with a little smattering of positive good news stories. Over on GMP VIP, a little bit of a visual quiz for you this morning. What's this? It's very fancy, isn't it? It looks like something somebody may have received for Christmas this year. If I zoom back out of there over at GMP VIP, this is the Portugal quiz. What is this thing of beauty? Excuse me, I need to cough. Excuse me. I met the creator of this beautiful item a couple of days ago at our now monthly meetup at the Storytellers Palace in San Martino de Porto. But what is it? Is it eau de cologne? Is it olive oil? Or is it Ove? No idea. Looks like it could be something you splash on yourself, but what is it exactly? And just while we're over there at GMP VIP, let's have a look at what's happening there. We've got Antonio F has been busy talking about a lot of talk actually in our community about Portuguese wines, and we'll be looking at 2019 wines next Monday on the Wine Club. Good Morning Portugal Wine Club next Monday at 8. I think if you could if you want to join us, grab yourself a couple of bottles of 2019. And we will taste those and talk about them at 8 o'clock next Monday evening. Highway tolls, best Portuguese surfer wins of 2023. Some beautiful pictures, a bit of a gallery going on there at loveportugalgmpvip.com as well. Portuguese sayings of the day, 285 comments in that thread. Now, talk of Mexican food. Always gets the Americans in our community talking, doesn't it? Mexican food. And what are your hopes and dreams for 24? Lots of lovely info over there. Embracing tranquility, the joys of house and pet sitting on the Silver Coast, and the Coimbra right up there, and a few photos too. Let's give him a nice big round of applause and welcome onto the screen Mr. Bruce Hawker from the Portugal Resident. Good morning, Bruce.
Morning, Carl. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone.
Igualmente. Bon Ano Novo, Feliz Ano Novo. Which do you prefer to say? Do you go with the Bon Ano Novo or Feliz Ano Novo yourself?
I just say Bon Ano.
Bon Ano. Very good. Yeah, that sounds like proper Portuguese to me, doesn't it? Rather than something you read in a phrase book. Did you have a good Christmas?
Yes, very good. I had my two young terrorist grandchildren here with my son and daughter over from the UK. So
yes,
our house has been like a zoo.
Has it really?
The last 2 weeks. We dropped them at the airport yesterday, so an afternoon of relative peace and quiet.
Sounds like a sigh of relief.
Yeah. But it was lovely. I mean, obviously, great having them here. The nice New Year as well. Put the kids to bed early and had a nice New Year bash here with some friends around. So yeah,
excellent. And as I recall, you like to get onto the beach on Christmas Day as well. That's one of your
yeah. We were swimming on Santianos Beach here in the Algarve, so that's just 5 minutes from where I live.
Superb.
It was actually 18 degrees, not too cold.
Fantastic.
And we were in 4 or 5 times. I think we were down there for a couple of hours, drinking bubbles and frolicking in the ocean.
Oh,
it was great.
I mean, that's why we're here, isn't it? To be able to do things like that.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the reasons. Yeah, it's great, and we love walking on the cliff tops in the morning here, and it's a beautiful place to live. Yeah.
How lovely. Okay, and you had a great idea to share with us some news stories this morning. You are, of course, in the world of news and publishing, and it was a bit of a as it is a bit of a struggle to find some positive news stories. It's a tough time finding inspiration.
Yeah, I was going through the stories posted over the last few days over the Christmas and New Year period, and there's not a lot there positive, but actually there's one piece that was posted by our journalist Natasha Don just yesterday on the 1st, and which is positive. There's going to be a 30% reduction, approximately 30% reduction on average on the scut highways. So the A22 here in the Algarve, and also there's a few of them elsewhere in the country, isn't there? Up north, there are a couple of scut highways, the ones that were originally built with EU funds, not to be tolled, and then the government obviously decided to toll them. Which is constitutionally illegal, apparently. So,
well, Portugal does tend to do that from time to time. Does it go against the wishes of the EU and just pay the fine instead? I think they do that with the car importation, right?
Yeah, I don't think they've actually been fined for it, but certainly we've been paying the tolls here in the Algarve, which have gone up many times over the years since they were introduced. And certainly a 30% reduction in those tolls is going to be very welcome news to anyone living down here, and then obviously anyone living up in the northern interior where those motorways, highways also exist. So that's good news.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think is behind it? Because I mean, nobody likes to pay to use the roads, do they? I mean, although if you do pay to use the Via Verde, if you use some of the best tolls in this country, you do get the road to yourself, don't you? And it's a very excellent experience. But what's behind the idea to reduce them, do you think? People have been moaning about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ever since they were introduced, but I think it's just political, to tell you the truth. I think we've got elections around the corner. And the government's trying to do something. They've also just obviously announced about the reductions in the increase in the minimum salary, reductions in the IRS tax brackets. So it's actually quite interesting that the maximum tax bracket in Portugal will now only kick in after 80,000 euros of income.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which is considerably better than it was, and everybody in the lower brackets is going to be paying slightly less, up to about 30,000 a year. People will be paying less.
Very good, very good. So yes, these are the sort of things you might expect in an election year.
Absolutely, yeah. And in all fairness, this leads into my next story, which is the lead story on the PortugalResident.com website this morning. Which is there's a survey just out yesterday showing that PSD are now, according to this survey, a clear 10% ahead of, the socialists are a clear 10% ahead of the PSD. So yeah, these kind of good news items that are coming out could be something to do with this. And it's quite an interesting story, actually. It's a good analysis, again, by Natasha Don. If you go on the Portugal News website and read the piece, it really explains where the other parties are. Obviously, PS and PSD in the lead. But for example, Chega, the hard right, have gained a few decimal points. They're definitely growing. Bloco de Esquerda, the hard left, are down. But interestingly, in this, PAN have actually increased up to 3.7% now. So what the analysis is saying is that whereas in the past, if there was a situation of a coalition, hung parliament, that we would have ended up with the hard left joining the socialists, but they would probably much rather join with PAN, and with a reasonable percentage of the expected vote now, that could be quite interesting. So anyway, it's a good analysis, certainly worth a read of what's going on.
Okay, well, I will put the link to that into the chat this morning so people can have a look. We've got a little bit of a response to the Scut highways. Can you just give us a little bit of a distinction? We'll come back to the politics in just a moment. But the Scut highways, are they the sort of the luxury ones, the absolute best toll roads in Portugal? Are they the ones known as Scut?
Purely because they were built with EU funds. So money was not really an object. And but I wouldn't really say that the A22 here in the Algarve is a particularly great experience to drive. It's it's not very well surfaced. It's too tight. It's actually very dangerous to drive at high speed on the. You see people tearing down the A22 here at 180 or 200 kilometers an hour sometimes, and it is extremely dangerous. It's not the equivalent of, say, a big autobahn in Germany or something. Whereas the Scut highways I've been on up north, I forget where they were. Isn't there one up near Guimarães somewhere? I think
I've not seen that one. I've not seen that one up there. I mean, we're pretty well served. When I go from San Martinho de Porto to Lisbon, the AA is, I think, a very good example of how toll roads can operate.
Yeah, I think the AA could be I'm not sure, actually. We need to. Okay. But basically, they're the ones. They're all of the highways that were built with EU funds. All the other highways. So for example, the A1, the A2, the tolls are actually going up. So
that's really okay. That's interesting, isn't it?
That's probably the other reason why this has been done, because it's to soften the blow of the tolls going up on the other highways.
Yeah. Okay. So Tom's saying the reason the Scut highways were tolled was as a condition of the 2009 bailout, apparently, which Pete agrees with over in Fundão way, along with selling off the electricity infrastructure. Pete, not a fan of some of the Algarve roads either, saying the Algarve roads are awful. As are the hospitals. That's a bit of a summary judgment about the infrastructure down there in the Algarve, Pete, this morning. Maybe he hasn't had enough coffee yet. I love paying for the roads, says Pete. It keeps everyone else off them with no average speed checks. Here, it can be quite fun. Although I heard last year that was coming in, because I always wondered, Bruce, that if you use a toll road and there's a gantry or a toll booth, obviously you're being measured, aren't you, from one point to the next? And
you would assume so.
Work out your speed, and if you were speeding, you could therefore be fined. But was it a data protection issue that they didn't share that sort of information?
I don't think it was ever done.
Oh right, okay.
It's certainly they've threatened to do it over the years, but it's certainly not in place anywhere here in Portugal.
Okay. We do be careful.
It can't really work, can it? Because if you set off from one toll gate and bomb along the motorway doing, say, 180, and then stop for a pee, and then go back to doing 180, your average speed is still
average peed.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So,
Yes, okay. So there's some tactics there for managing using the toll roads without getting yourself a fine.
yeah.
So there were different times, and there are lots of resources online, of course, to figure out how to use the toll roads in Portugal, which can be terrifying when
Yeah.
you get a hire car, obviously, don't you, from the airport sometimes, and you encounter these. You're fairly new to the country, you might be a little bit jet lagged, and then suddenly you're faced with an array of booths and gantries and things, and you have to choose which one you're going to take and whether you've remembered to get the Via Verde transponder in the vehicle. And so it can be quite stressful. So
It is. It's a mess.
yeah, do a little bit of research if you're on your way to Portugal.
I mean, on the borders, I went over to Spain a few weeks ago, and it was on the holiday weekend, on the December 1st holiday weekend. And we were driving across the Guadiana, across the bridge to Spain, and the queue of cars on the other side of the road just backed up in order to go through the. I think there's something there where you can prepay or get some sort of card or something. I've never had to do it because I've always had my Via Verde, but there were probably 100 cars queuing up there to go through, which is not not good at all.
That's not meant to be how it works.
No, absolutely not. No.
Okay, so there you go. We can anticipate a little bit of a reduction on some of the toll roads, increases on some of the others, and it does sound a little bit like, looking at what we've got on the screen here, as though it's a little bit of political manoeuvring. What are you thinking for March of this year? We're ahead of the Carnation Revolution celebrations, which will be in April, of course, and the election in March. Have you got any ideas about how it might go in March?
I think everyone pretty much, although obviously PSD supporters would like to think that PSD has got a chance of getting back in, which, we can't talk about politics here, but I think the PS will do it. Whether it will be a clear majority, but one way or another, it's all to do really. It's this whole the Mais Habitação, the housing crisis. The PS are, I think, are seen by the public as being as having supported the whole concept that that the property market needs to be cooled down in order to in order to create some decrease in property prices and dampen demand.
Yeah,
obviously, I think they've got that completely wrong. The whole problem here is that, in my opinion, it's an interesting fact here. 15 years ago, there were over 80,000 houses a year being built in Portugal. Currently, that's around 15,000.
Right. That's not keeping up. Is it with demand?
Yeah, the population's growing. So, in a nutshell, the reason that property prices are still going through the roof is that there aren't enough houses, and it's all to do with the town halls, with central government, the whole bureaucratical delays and red tape involved in getting planning permission to build anything. I did a simple renovation project on my house here, and it took us 2 years to get approval for a simple renovation on our house.
Yeah, that's not helping, is it? That's not helping.
No.
Well, and it does. It is an odd way to manage an economy, isn't it? It's to try and cool down growth and stop prices rising. I mean, and the big elephant in the room, of course, is that Portuguese people aren't paid enough, which as you mentioned, was addressed or will be addressed. But it's always talked about, and we'll see actually what happens, won't we? Whether the promises come to anything. Anything else from you this morning?
I think looking back over the last few months, the big positive piece of news, certainly for me, for many people who are involved in tourism investment here in the Algarve specifically, is the new direct air link to the USA, to Newark, to New York.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is so we've covered that. We interviewed the new president of the Algarve Tourism Board at the beginning of October, and it was our cover story on the print edition of the Resident. And he said new air links are vital, and he obviously had this up his sleeve, but didn't let the cat out of the bag. And then 2 weeks later, the new flights announced. Apparently, this has been financed by a huge amount of money by the RTA from their budget. So they've actually, they've supported United Airlines financially in order to get this off the ground.
Very interesting.
But it's good. 4 days a week, 6.5 hour flight from Faro straight into Newark. That people can feed in from all over the states in order to come to Portugal, to the Algarve specifically. There's always been good air links to Lisbon from the USA with United, TAP, Continental, others. But for the Algarve, this is a first. We have seasonal flights in the winter, a couple of days a week from Canada. But that's really more for sort of the retiree snowbirds just coming down. So it's not a general schedule, although it is a scheduled flight. It doesn't really work as a scheduled flight.
That's really very interesting, because if you're an American, you wouldn't think much of traveling from the Algarve to Lisbon, would you? I mean, Americans have a greater sense of scale, don't they, when moving around their own country and elsewhere in the world. So that's a good move. Are you feeling any effect from that yet, or is it going to take a little while to embed, do you think?
No, the flight only starts in May.
Oh, okay. So it's signaled for starting in May.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that will change things economically. These things tend to do that. Bruce, great to talk to you this morning. Have a great 2024, and I'm sure it's going to be an exciting one, isn't it, with the election, with the Carnation Revolution celebrations coming up. So we look forward to chatting with you and any positive news you can find in the news that when you come to see us on your monthly visit. Have a great day, and all the best to everybody at the Resident this morning.
Thank you, Carl. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye for now. Take care. Ciao. Right, there goes Bruce Hawker from Open Media and the Portugal Resident. I think we should keep that applause going because it's Tony time, everybody. And here he is. Hola, bom dia.
Bom dia, alegria.
How
are you, Carlito?
I'm very well. I've had a lovely Christmas. I suspect you have too. Tell us about it, Tony.
Oh, it's terrible. Just eating and drinking. I mean, it's the worst. I hate that. I hate when I'm invited. Don't invite me you can invite me to lunch or dinner anytime. Just don't invite me to work. That's my motto of the life. And so it was quite boring, all that bolo rei, the Alvarinho spumante, and the great wines. Oh man, I'm still recovering.
Were you entertaining as well? Were you busy networking? It's quite a thin line, isn't it, between work and pleasure for you, I think?
No, it's strictly pleasure. Strictly pleasure. These times are, you disconnect. You have to, Carl. I mean, most people probably don't know, but I turn my phone off after 6, 7 p.m. at night. I just turn it off. If you can't get a hold of me, then call. Oh, it's an emergency. Well, then you should be calling Cintidos. That's the emergency number.
Very good discipline. Is that a leftover from your corporate days in the United States? How did you learn to be such a vigorous time and a well-boundaried kind of guy?
Absolutely, Carl. My day starts real early in the morning. Okay, it starts. Get ready. You have 6:30 in the morning. I'm up. 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm up, having breakfast, getting ready to go to the gym. A little workout. It doesn't do much, but it makes you feel good. From head to toe. You're there taking a shower. You're ready to conquer the day. So it starts off real early, and so from say 9 up until 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, I can have already 3-4 meetings, X amount of calls. But everything for me is time blocked, even if it's just I mean, my calendar, if you look at it, it's booked like 3 weeks in advance, maybe a month in advance in some things. We're planning already things, for 2024. We already have dates for travel dates, business dates, not only for Portugal here, but also we're going to be going with some group of investors to Mexico, Costa Rica. Oh, and I got news for you from the down low. From the down low, but anyway, that's my that it came out yesterday. But I already knew this last week. I'm actually doing a program about it. One of our organizations that I belong to, FIAPSI. FIAPSI is a World Real Estate Federation, based in Paris. I'm a member of the FIAPSI USA. And so I'm part of their committee and programming committee. And so I'm doing a program next February 22nd.
It's all go at Infinite Solutions this morning.
Yeah, it's from Belgium. 32 is Belgium, so I'll be looking forward to speak to somebody in Belgium. But it is. I normally have the time. I have it off while we're here, so no interruption. So I apologize. But the truth is that you got a time block. I get a lot of stuff done. I do during the day, but then you just gotta disconnect. I'll put it on silence mode or completely off, either way. But only certain amount of friends. So when I go for Christmas, New Year's, certain events, those are just there's no work involved, nothing. I mean, you're having fun, you're getting drunk, whatever comes. You know what I mean? They're walking me home or driving me home if I'm going to their house, which happens a lot. My house is usually in the summertime. That's when I do a lot of the outside cookings and barbecues and stuff. So
good for you. Okay, well, I like that. I like that sense of boundaries there. That might be a resolution some others want to pick up as well. That
Saturdays and Sundays. You do enough. Saturdays and Sundays. We have a team. I mean, I hustled. I bustled. You can't take it with you, Carl. Trust me. You're not going to take anything with you.
Shroud. Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to take anything with you. But you know what? You can take the moments, the sensations. And so when it comes on a Saturday or Sunday, hey, you know what? Nobody's going to tell me to see a house on a Saturday or Sunday. It's just not going to happen. It's just not
very good. Okay.
It's just not going to happen. Only because Saturdays and Sundays it is for my friends, and you have to dedicate that. My friends, my family are my friends, right? So I dedicate that special time for them. Even for myself, I do nothing. My favorite pastime, in addition to eating and going out and enjoying life, my favorite pastime is just doing nothing, just sitting, looking outside the window, sitting in a coffee shop, watching the world go by. I mean, those are the little things, that's the reasons why I moved here, Carl, to enjoy life.
And this country and this culture is
People
built
forget
for that.
People forget that. And I'm quick to point out all the time that you are not going to change Portugal. But if you're lucky enough, Portugal will change you just the same way it did for me, where you're more quiet. Slow down, Yankee. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
excellent. That's another merch possibility, isn't it, for the new year? Antonio is with us at the other one. Antonio F. Bon dia todos. And James, very happy to see him. James has got a mindful dad joke for us in just a moment as well. Matty also in Quinta Antragos. Feliz Ano Novo a todos e bom dia. E uma quinta Antragos ensolarada. So he's nice, and I think he may have his Wi-Fi installed there, and he's got some sunshine at his central Portugal quinta. Excellent. Antonio not able to help with interrailing. I don't know if you know anything about interrailing. We had a question earlier on, Tony, and to expand on that, João de Norte saying, an example of my interrail confusion is to book a high-speed route from Santiago to Madrid. On Interrail, I can only find the slow boat 13-hour option. If I look online directly, it's easy to find. Do you know much about traveling by rail around Portugal?
Yes. Well, actually, throughout Europe. One of my favorite things before I started the real world when I was 22. Actually, I wasn't even 22 yet. I had finished college, and I met an older person, mature, that she said to me and encouraged, travel around Europe by backpack. Guess what? I did it for almost 2 months using the Interrail. You book it. I think it's for maximum 2 weeks at a time, and then you can just go and go. So however time you want to go. And I see here your quickest bet, João, is going from Vigo, not Santiago, Vigo, Madrid. It's called the AVE. The high speed train is the AVE. It's from Vigo to Madrid, and you can get it in 5 hours. You'll be there.
Nice one. That's great service. Thank you very much. Jackie, the humble crafter here. Morning all. Happy New Year to everyone.
No charge on Tuesdays, Carl. You know that. No charge on Tuesdays.
Excellent. And but he's unavailable after 7. Happy New Year to everyone. Love and hugs from a rainy, wet, windy canal in the UK. Good to have you here, Jackie. And I'm with Tony, says Pete. I live without a mobile for 2 years after running a club. Mobiles are so intrusive. Write a letter or knock on the door. And Tom also agreeing. Take 1 day off a week for rest and reflection. That's the purpose of the Sabbath from the Judeo-Christian tradition. Or 2. And from Santiago, it's only 3.5 hours on high speed, says João de Norte. You two might cross over and can chat about that a little bit later on when João joins us at 9:30. So you're looking forward. I mean, I imagine as well, because you're a very well-organized guy, you've set a few priorities for Infinite Solutions for the coming year. The website's looking good. There's some lovely property on there. So what are your priorities for this year ahead at Infinite Solutions, Tony? What are you looking to do?
Well, we're organizing the trade mission, of course, from May 30th through June 6th. That's our first, getting to know Porto and the Minho region, okay, the north, basically, and Spain. And, and then we're doing in October as well, okay? So we're doing twice this year. We're doing Lisbon, Comporta, and Algarve, okay, for the south as well. And so we're excited about that. Quite a few people already booked in advance already, pre-reservations and stuff, you know. Without a doubt, looking forward to that. Business, you know, we don't worry about business, Carl. The business comes to you. I think, you know, when we have so many leads. You know, you remember, I remember I've always said this, and I say this to a lot of colleagues. I do a lot of speaking on real estate events and international real estate and building your sphere of influence, your circle of influence, and working and building. And it's always about relationships. We talk about that. That sounds cliche, right? But don't forget, building relationships with other business partners is crucial. And that's where I excel. I mean, I've done it for, you know, more than 20 years. I've started all the relationships, every single person, every realtor from the United States, from Canada, from the United Kingdom, from South America. It's from all over. I'm a member of various real estate organizations. So I use my network that every single day. I mean, you have maybe one referral for a buyer lead or a seller lead, but maybe even two a day, Carl. Okay, people moving here, investing, etc., getting on the bandwagon. I always say, well, maybe you're not too late. You come on in. We still got room for you. You know what I mean? So, but it is, and you know, I wanted to bring up something, and so that's our goals are always the same every single year. You know what it is? Just adding on. I'm not going to get one more. I'm going to be one more deal richer or millionaire by doing it. But what you do, you add on. I always look at it like, how many families are we going to help move here this year? And I know from the number of families that we help move here this year, we already know how many homes we're going to sell next year because we help them move here. They need us in the pain, and, you know, with their pain, and, you know, everybody could do, you know, I even talked about this the other day with somebody going through the D7 visa, D8 visa. You know, you could do it all on your own. You really don't need any professional. You could do it all on your own. It's not that complicated. A lot of things you're going to be doing it. But one thing you're definitely going to need, and that is a licensed real estate broker to help you find the best place to live, best community, best prices, etc. Work on your behalf. So you're going to have to hire somebody to find that. Because, you know, doing it distance, imagine people can come here and visit, but then they go back. They're not, because unless you're ready to sign the deal, that lease agreement, and you're only going to go 6 months or a year from now. So what do? People go back, and then that's where this starts, where their eyes on the ground. So we're lucky enough where we know the value of helping people move here, because then when they're ready to buy, when they know I found my place in the sun, Tony. This is where I want to live. And you are absolutely right. And we do that 6 months or a year before. So we're never worried about our business growing. I always say, let's worry always about the number of people that we could serve, because that's what's going to ultimately get you. And you know, we don't worry about that. And we just keep doing what we do. And we love doing it, Carl.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I've been reconsidering my Good Morning Portugal strategy for the new year. I mean, I'm not a great strategist. I do what I love doing, and it seems to work out okay, which is a lovely thing. And I think you're similar. But it's nice to have a little bit of structure, isn't it? And a few sort of landmarks or intentions in the distance to help guide you on your journey. And I've realized that, you know, I want to be doing this for a very long time, a bit like you. And it is all a matter of helping people and building relationships, and things kind of figure themselves out in the meantime, don't they? And I've really relaxed into that, you know, we have a lovely community here. And this is people who want to live to not together, but people who want to be in Portugal, in this chosen lifestyle in this great country. And we've got, God willing, a long future ahead of us. And I've become much more comfortable about, you know, instead of the panic of, like, you know, making ends meet, and oh my goodness, you know, we've got to make this happen, chop, chop, busy. It's like you said, slow down, Yankee. Let's see this as a long-term thing, and we can allow things to fall into place. So I think you've been a bit of an inspiration to me there, and I do like the way you go about things. We've got Filomena with us this morning as well. Hola, bon dia. Bon ano para todos. Good to see you here this morning, Filomena. Thanks for joining us. And we've also got this lovely picture. I want to talk to you a little bit about olive oil and wine, which is a bit of a giveaway here, a bit of a clue. This was a picture I showed earlier on. What is this? It could be a cologne that somebody got for Christmas. I don't know if you're familiar with this brand, Tony, but this is Ponte De Lima, and that's actually an olive oil. Now, some lovely things are happening here, aren't they, with products? This is a company I met who grow apples and pears near Caldas. And they've got a lovely little business, and I think they've got quite a nice little sort of long-term possibility with this. They're looking to expand as well. they export Portuguese fruit to Brazil. Who saw that happening and coming? Are you familiar with this? How it is that Portuguese people around the world want their Portuguese products and are happy to have them sent over?
I've heard of pastéis nata, but not fruit.
Yeah, of course. But these guys have got a massive. They're facing a massive demand. They need more orchard space. They want to expand quite rapidly. Actually, I'll show you a little bit more of these people. That's their beautifully presented olive oil that I just showed you, and I'll show you their Instagram page as well. And then we'll have a look at some nice developments around wine here in Portugal as well, because I know you may have a wine tip for us this morning, because I see you posting up pictures of wines that you're enjoying. This is Pomar de Marialva. Look at that. This is life in the Portuguese. This is their Instagram, by the way, and I'll put the link to it into the chat. But they got some lovely packaging. They've chosen the azulejo style, and they're doing a beautiful job on the branding, which, to be fair, not all Portuguese companies bother with, do they? It's very sort of pau queijo here in Portugal. A lot of companies don't bother too much worrying about branding, but these guys are doing it. Look at that. Isn't that some lovely design there, and a lovely way to package up your products when you're sending them around the world? The flavors of Portugal. Pomar de Marialva there. So good luck to them in their endeavors. Let's have a look at wine then. So what have you been drinking recently? Did you discover anything over the Christmas that you especially would like to commend to this community?
I was offered a bottle of Alvarinho, a bubbly, Spumante from a wine estate here in Melgaço. Well, actually, Monção. They're in Monção. And Provam is the name of it. And delicious. Brut. I don't like the sweet. I like the brut. Extra brut, like me. Brutus.
Drank too, Brutus. Yes. Okay, and that was a Christmas present, was it? That's a particular recommendation.
Definitely, most definitely. For Alvarinho, you wouldn't think of Alvarinho for a sparkling wine. I was amazingly, surprisingly happy with it, and because it's strong, bruto, and so when you have it with when you mix up the flavors like the sweet and sour, like the Bolorei, with a bruto spumante. Marialva reminds me one of my favorite spumantes is from Marquês Marialva. That's right. I'm not sure if that's from there.
No, it's a different company, but it's he's an interesting character in Portuguese folklore, isn't he? I think a bit of a fop, the Marquês de Marialva, and it's a beautiful blue bottle, as I recall, not a blue bottle, but a bottle that is blue. And again, another nice, lovely bit of branding. But Alvarinho, traditionally then, is a Vinho Verde, but you found a Spumante version of Alvarinho. Is that what you're saying there?
Quite a few estates have developed that in the last couple of years, and it turns out really, really well. The fermenting, etc. There's quite a few. I know that another one of my favorite Alvarinho wines, Reguengos de Melgaço. I've tried it, delicious as well. Hey, you know what? Come in April 25th. It's always in the April 25th. You have the Festa do Alvarinho in Melgaço. Definitely something to do.
Very good. Okay, let's have a look at our news page. We've got a newly refurbed website. I want to say congratulations to newlyweds. They got married on New Year's Eve. They did it over Zoom. What an age we live in. There they are. She may well be boots on the ground in Portugal, but it looks like Kevin Ariola has swept our very own Heather Binder's feet off the same ground. Now literally just married. So congratulations, you two. Excellent job. Got married on the 31st of December. Now, what I'm looking for here, if we talk a little bit more about wine. Oh, some of the other stories, actually, before we refresh this page. This is all on the homepage now of goodmorningportugal.com. Portugal rewards bachelor's and master's graduates with incentive bonuses. 2024 price rises. Bread, electricity, gas, rents, tolls, transport, and telecommunications expected to go up, apart from those tolls which have been slashed that Bruce was telling us about. Monocle, that is a great podcast there, Tony. Monocle is a great magazine or publishing house. There's a podcast that I found, a British guy of Portuguese ancestry, and a lovely chat with him about his efforts to bring Portuguese wine more onto the international stage. We've got mixed feelings about that, I think. I spoke to Tig yesterday. She's got her MBE, and there's a 20-minute or so interview with her about the backstory of her MBE. That also is on our news page. You can watch that there. And Portugal registers lowest number of bullfights ever in 2023. So the culture changing. But the one I wanted to look at with you, Tony, was wine production up 10%. I hope you're seeing that on the screen. Oh no, I need to change that. We've got wine production up, which is always a good thing here in Portugal. Join us next Monday evening for the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club, where we'll be choosing wine from 2019, which was the suggestion of a Chinese Terry who'll be hosting that next Monday at 8. So look, the regions of the Açores, Lisbon, Bairrada and Trás-os-Montes stand out with increases of more than 20%. Have you got a pick for us from Trás-os-Montes? Because that's not, I mean, you're not right there, are you? But it's over to the east from you, isn't it, Trás-os-Montes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Trás-os-Montes, that area there, you're going to probably, the grape variety, Touriga Nacional, okay, the grape variety, it's the most predominant in Portugal. You're going to find it there for the reds, for the whites, maybe the Arintos, okay, etc. Those grape varieties, they're predominant there. And great wines. I mean, they're more, I would say, to drink. I've never drank a wine from, like, Trás-os-Montes 10 years after the pick date, okay? The harvest date, rather, okay? Or 6 years or 7 years. I have that Trás-os-Montes. You have the area, the more Alto Douro, etc. The wine cellars there. They're predominantly where you consume it within a year or two. Okay, the alcohol content is around the 13.5, 14. Okay, maybe even around that. So whereas the Douro or Alentejo, you can hold on to that wine for, you could go to a supermarket, for example, and you buy some really good cheap wines. Okay, they come out on the market, and they're imagine €3. You're going to see that same wine 5 years down the road for €8 or €9 a bottle, where you bought it for $3. So buy 6 or 12. So I'm always looking out. I went the other day, and these are always my favorites for, run of the, day-to-day wines, and the non-frills wines, okay, that you have, like, for example, from Pingo Doce, Continente, they go to the producer. You got to look at the wine, the grape variety. That's where I go, okay? And even if you go like Touriga Nacional, you can't go wrong with that. That's that's like our Tempranillo. That's the best of the best. So Touriga Nacional, just the Monocasta, okay, just that one grape variety from Pingo Doce, okay, it would cost you about €2, and I think it was €2.30 or something like that. It is an outstanding wine, okay, and it's done by, it's no frills. Pingo Doce gets it directly from the producer. Just like the other day when or last month or whatever, when I found this one from the Tejo region, okay, Palmelão, from Palmela, okay, from the wine there. Yeah. I mean, for less than €2 in Continente, you go back, it's like now you don't find them. I think people discover it, and you don't. We always say this, Carl. You don't need to go to the top shelf of the supermarket. You're going to find some really, really good, inexpensive wines here in Portugal for around €2.
And you think laying that down would be good as well? If you're picking something like the Touriga Nacional and you pick it up for €2 or €3, you can lay that down. And that's going to work.
That's going to work. Touriga Nacional, it'll hold off. It holds off. It's a grape variety that stands well over time. And so the Douro wines, I mean, even the port wine is made from Touriga Nacional. So you're talking sometimes they're harvested.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. I'm noticing here as we scroll through this story, there's also a quiz question here for you. Where is the southernmost point in Portugal? So we'll give the answer to that after we've had a look at growing wine production here in Portugal. Wine production during the 23-24 season will increase 10% to 7.5 million hectolitres. Sounds like a lot. I don't know what a hectolitre is. With emphasis on the regions of the Açores, Lisboa, Bairrada, and Trás-os-Montes, according to the Instituto da Vinha e do Vinho, the IVV. Why is that Vinha e do Vinho? Why are there two genders there on wine, Tony?
Vinho refers to the wine. Vinha refers to the plantation.
Oh, okay, excellent. So the feminine is the mother of the grapes, if you like, and the wine itself. Yeah. Excellent, very good.
Good analogy.
Vocabulary as well this morning. Thank you for that. The data collected in the harvest and production declarations, attest to an increase in volume with a total of 7.5 million hectolitres, representing an increase of 10% on the 22-23 campaign, said in a statement, the IVV, compared to the average in the last 5 campaigns. The increase is 13%. The regions of the Açores, Lisbon, Bairrada, and Trás-os-Montes stand out with increases of more than 20%. In turn, the Verge and Beira interior regions saw production drops. I wonder if that's to do with the weather. According to the same note, productions suitable for denomination of origin, the DO, and the geographical indication, the GI, reached in this campaign 91% of international production. In line with what has been seen in recent years, the production of red wines is predominant, representing 59.6% of the total produced. The volume of white wines, slightly above 2.5 million hectolitres, has a weight 33.8%, and rosé wine 6.7%. He detailed the reduced action of pests and diseases and new vineyard plantings contributed above all to the increase in production. So that's all looking good for Portuguese wine there. The not the criticism exactly, but the reason that I've heard, Tony, is why Portuguese wine is not better known around the world is because we don't have the levels of production. Would you agree with that? Or is it just Portuguese people wanting to keep it to themselves?
No, it's about quantity. We have quality. We have quality. Yeah. We have one of the best wines in the world. I mean, you could see, you have, I'm not talking about Barca Velhas. I'm not talking about your Quinta de Valmions. I'm not talking about, your, one of my favorites in the so in the Alentejo as well. You have so many, Cartucha, for example. We have outstanding wines. Okay. But not enough to go around for everybody. And you gotta, sometimes when you go into the local tascas, you go to Viseu, Dudon, Lafões, okay, that center area, you even Trás-os-Montes, the area there, and you're gonna get some outrageous wine, mature wine. It's not the only green wine you're gonna find is around this region in the Minho, right? Everything else is pretty much a mature wine, unless it's like a rosé or spumante or something, And once you visit those areas there, and you visit some of the wine estates, you buy it in a 5 liter in the jug, 5 liters. Yeah, you go, and there's no label on there, and it's some of the outrageous wine, even Porto wine. I still have. He's a good friend of mine. He's actually a priest. I have a lot of priest friends, right? So my place up there. When I go out to dinner with them or sometimes lunch, everybody thinks I'm a priest too. And I says, yeah, I could talk my way out of a lot of stuff. So
yes, I can see you.
They're bon vivants, priests and the clergy. They are the best. They're bon vivants. Talk about food and wine. When I go to lunch or dinner with them, it's like you have this culture, enlightenment, about everything. And so they go to they'll go into the Douro Valley with their friends, and they're given this bottle of wine from Porto wine. It's maybe 30 years old. There's no label on there or anything. You know what I mean? And they're giving it to them because it is some of the most outstanding port wines. Forget labels. I mean, you go into some of these little tascas and you ask the daily wine. And so it's not enough to make it for everybody. And so who's lucky enough to be around those areas? The Vinho Verde, right? When you go into the tascas here, Ponte De Lima, Ponta Barca, Arcos, up here, etc. When you go, that local production, you buy it in a 5 liter jug, and you take it home. You got to drink it quickly. You can't hold on to it. That's the problem. You can't hold on to it for a year, 2 or 5. You got to drink that 5. You buy 5 or 10 liters or how many jugs. Be ready to drink it within, a couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for all your input on wine this morning. And of course, you would hope that priests, it's like a form of worship, isn't it? It's appreciating good food and wine. So long may that continue. Raquel is here with a happy new year. Weather report from Central. It's grayer than Carl's 20-year-old Y-fronts here, Matty. That's very personal. I hope my batteries will recharge. Luckily, so he's got a new solar system in there. Luckily, I was able to fully charge my car from solar yesterday. Excellent. So that seems to be working. Good stuff. Since I know virtually nothing about wine, says James, I just look for the least expensive bottle I can find. I don't think you're going to be getting a Christmas card this year or any year from the Portuguese wine industry. Never spent more than €2.50 for the 5 bottles I've purchased over my 2.5 years here. Okay, James, I don't think, they're not going to be in touch with you. You're not going to be getting a loyalty card, basically. You're not going to get the 11th bottle free. For Philomena, thank you for being here, Philomena, Tia Philomena. At least you won't need an alcoholic drink this morning as you don't have your remedial class at 10. Is that with Pete? I wonder. Thank you, Antonio. Trás-os-Montes, in case you're wondering, pictures just in of Trás-os-Montes. Look at this sky, everybody. And a cannon. That's a nice thing to have on your property, isn't it, Tony? It kind of sends out a signal, doesn't it, if you've got that on the edge of your property?
Oh, yeah.
Grey skies of Trás-os-Montes and some blue sky there as well. So the big country of Trás-os-Montes, a little known part of Portugal, of course. And thank you, Antonio F., for those pictures this morning.
People don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. And the interior part of Portugal is outstanding for quality of life. Everybody wants to be, not everybody, excuse me, not everybody wants to live on the coastline. You know, we get a lot of people that prefer the more laid back lifestyle. As they say, you know what? We don't want to run into other Americans. We want to be able to integrate in the community. And they don't say that badly, you know, but they want to integrate with the community, learn Portuguese, etc., be fit in. That's the concept that they have when they leave the U.S. is that they want to be not talk about the glory old days of the U.S. or United Kingdom and stuff. And so people do love the interior parts, and you're going to see that more and more people looking there. Remember, I was telling you at the beginning, I got it from the download. This was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Portugal last year was #1 country to retire to by expats, right? Number one last year, right? By International Living Magazine. Guess what? Yesterday, but I already knew this from last 2 weeks ago or whatever. It's no surprise when you get the inside dirt. Let's say, you know, the
nice one, a scoop from Tony time and a scoop. What you got for us?
Portugal is #2 country to retire to by expats. I can give you the top. They do International Living Magazine does a list, 10, the top 20, the top 10, the top 3 countries. #3, Mexico. Portugal, #2. And remember, we were last year. We can't be #1 every year. And #1 country, Costa Rica, for people for expats. And there's a list that they do. So it's a list. So definitely you'll be hearing a lot about it. Portugal rated as the #2 country to retire to by expats. It's not an opinion. It's a fact.
Well, that's
and you're
great.
See Internations and a lot of other publications, but International Living Magazine puts out a survey. The 1st of January, they do it every single year. On the 1st of January, you have the list there. And it's a pretty complex list about the Global Peace Index, the quality of life, everything. So Portugal, #2, my friend.
What a lovely note to leave us on this morning. Tony, great to talk to you. Have a great new year. May all your dreams come true. And I'm sure you will continue to play a part in helping other people's dreams come true as they think about Portugal and move to Portugal. And they can find you, of course, at infinite-solutions.pt. You have a great day. Phone him during the day. His phone goes off at 7. Take care, mate. And bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
Bye,
See you, buddy. Bye for now. There he goes. The man in the Minho. Some Tony time this morning. Let's stay up there in the north of Portugal. Keep that applause coming, if you will, everybody. Put your hands together, if you will. A nice warm hand on his opening. It's João de Norte. How are you, mate?
Hey, how you doing, Carl?
Felicia Novo. Great to see you, John. How was your Christmas? And
Wonderful. How was your holiday?
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. The birthdays start in this house. I mean, today it's interesting. You very kindly are wishing Minnie a happy birthday, who you know, of course, 8 today, and you made a very nice comment actually about that special age. It's right in the heart, the middle of childhood, isn't it? Yeah, and she's 8, and our kids, you know, their birthdays start in November. And then it's Minnie's birthday today, Luisa's birthday on the 20th of December. So it's an intense festive period right from the beginning of November through to the beginning of January here. So it just feels like there's a conclusion of festivities for us. And it has been wonderful. It's been quite quiet. We have in previous years, we've entertained at home and had, you know, sort of waif and stray expats join us for lunch. But this year we didn't. We had a very quiet one, and it was very lovely. And then we went up to the San Martinho de Porto fireworks on New Year's Eve. I think you saw 1 or 2 fireworks yourself in the north there, didn't you?
Yeah. Did you take a look at that video I sent with the war scene? I should have said, this is João de Norte reporting from the front lines.
Well, it was like that, wasn't it? I mean, and it went on and on, didn't it?
Yeah.
So you've been hanging out, I think, yourself with a few of the gang. You've got quite a strong community up there in Ponte De Lima. So I think it was quite convivial for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was. That's one of the unexpected blessings of moving here, was just having such a good group of friends.
Yeah, how lovely. How lovely. And I saw your comment here. We've been talking about wine, of course. Oh, T-Duck's back. Bon dia to you. I hope your mission was successful, T-Duck. And your comment here on wine, someone told you recently, that sounds like a Christmas conversation. If the wine tastes good to you, then it's a good wine, regardless of its price. Pete agreeing, verdad, especially when it's a friend's wine made with love. Absolutely. And responding to Costa Rica as #1 retirement destination for expats by some calculations anyway. But you don't need a malaria shot. But you don't need a malaria shot to move to Costa Rica. And of course, Portugal doesn't have drug cartels like Mexico. I think that list is for US expats. I doubt Mexico is top on the list for EU residents. Yes, I think you're probably right there, John, aren't you? So you do need a malaria shot, which if you're going to Costa Rica, but you don't need that for Portugal, of course. Happy New Year from the OLP. How are you? Lovely to see you here this morning. You lovely gumpers, says the OLP. And nothing wrong with being number 2. You can really leave your mark, and so much more memorable. Okay, thank you, Pete. Will Thompson, good morning to you. Happy New Year. Didn't know there was a shot for malaria since it's a parasite, and I thought everybody learned basic immunology by now. Oh, your work is not done yet, Will, it would appear. And question about fireworks in Portugal. Is it legal or not to do private consumer fireworks? Well, John, what do you think? A lot of people were letting off their own fireworks.
It's legal or not, but they certainly do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's certainly more fireworks here from people's backyards than formal ones, that's for sure.
And it's all about the timing, isn't it? I know some people can't wait until nightfall. There are people letting off fireworks, and certainly the big bangers during the day, because they don't seem to be able to contain themselves or wait. And then ahead of the New Year's, I don't know if you heard our conversation yesterday, but these massive red distress flares went up in San Martino de Porto when the big display started. And one of them landed on somebody's deck, their back garden, and we could see their back garden glowing red. So I think, Matty, people... yeah, like you say, John, whether it's legal or not, people do it, don't they? Portuguese people love fireworks, I would say. Right, you introduced into the conversation yesterday, John, the idea of the visit to the Roman baths here, and we've got further pictures this morning, haven't we, of a possible road trip. Tell us about this destination, if you will.
Well, it certainly looks lovely, doesn't it? well, you made some disparaging remarks about this picture.
Yes,
it looks rather algae covered, but that's just clear water and a green bottom. But there were some other photos that I had sent along with that to make it quite inviting looking. And from what I've heard, there's that you can mix and match what parts of the hot springs you like, depending on your temperature preferences. But if you take a closer look, go back to that picture, please, if you would. If you take a closer look, you notice that's a slope, right, going from the right-hand side down. And if you look closely at the top of the slope where the margin yields to the forest, that is that's the upper end of where the reservoir would be when it's full, right? And so this is on a reservoir. And as I found out, I was wanting to put together a group of people. We're going to make a nice trip out here and have it be a picnic and all this kind of thing. But I thought yesterday that maybe we should do a scouting trip. And so just a couple of us guys, myself, Owen, and Neil went and just did a little reconnaissance trip, if you would. So this picture, all those photos I sent you, it's all flooded. It's all underwater.
So can I show them now? Is that all right? If I just
this is a different bit of a story. The 4 photos I sent of you earlier, which was of the actual hot springs, all of that's underwater. Now this part here, I'll send it as a separate story, but there's a whole Roman ruins of 3 different companies of 3 or 4 companies of Roman legionnaires So this is it's a quite a large complex of a Roman barracks and fortress and guard houses, and you can see all the different rooms and dormitories, if you would, of
Seriously,
of
it's all
where
still
all
in good
the
order. Amazing.
yeah. So and yeah, so you can see each that's a cistern there, a well. So each one of these Roman barracks had their own cistern. So there's 4 or 5 of these all around the complex, and each separate room, would house, I don't know, four soldiers. I'm just picturing a couple of bunk beds or something.
Yeah.
And so this whole complex housed hundreds of, probably 1,000 soldiers. But it was, it's quite a very interesting complex to walk about. But no baths here. The baths were a little bit further east, if you will, from here, and they're all flooded right now. So this part wasn't flooded, and
It's
so that's Neil.
incredible,
That's
though, isn't
Neil
it?
and Owen.
In
Yeah.
some countries, these would be gated, wouldn't they? And there'll be a visitor center, and it'll be a serious sort of historical archaeological research project. These look like they're very accessible to people.
It's extremely accessible, but there actually is a visitor center that we found. Was closed, of course, on New Year's Day. But there are a number of these little placards around with a QR code that you can pull up and do your sort of self-guided tour. But it's very low key, extremely accessible. Just walk in and have a walkabout. And Owen's very observant was noticing that there's apparently a large contingent of wild boar living in these woods, because we were walking around. You could see where they've been foraging and digging up acorns and maybe truffle hunting or something.
Incredible.
But as we were walking along the margin of the lake, the water was all the way up to that, to the woods there in that first picture. And so that picture of someone sort of laying out, enjoying the sun next to the Roman bath, they'd probably be under, 15 feet of water at that point, presently.
So why is that then? What happened here? Presumably people weren't so precious about this site and made a reservoir there, and it just got flooded. Is that what happened?
And maybe it's just sort of seasonal or something of when it's at a higher point or not.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, it's an old Roman ruin. Oh, we'll just go flood it.
Yes.
So they're a dime a dozen around here, right?
Yes, exactly. It's incredible. Yeah. And also, it looks to me as though if you look at this one, there are more recent additions of your local granite stone that have been built onto the Roman ruins. Is that right? Is that what's happened here?
Well, I'm not an expert by any means, but you can see the archways there. Those are just the bottom bits of the archways. But I think it's just a matter of exposure to above or below water and things. I can't judge how old things are there, but I think it's all part of the original complex.
Incredible. So are you organizing a trip to this then? That was a recce yesterday.
Well, we will, but it probably won't be for bathing. It'll just be for having a picnic or something.
Yeah. Okay. But you can if you want to. Is it actually a natural spring and some warmth? There's some warmth in the water, is it, that comes up from the ground?
Well, not now, because it's under 10 feet of water. Okay. So I think it would be rather diluted.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
But at the right time, it could be an interesting experience, a reenactment almost.
Well, so obviously that I live on the Rio Lima, and the Lima starts up in Spain, and so there's a whole series of reservoirs along the way for flood control, because it used to be extremely flood prone. We do get floods still. We had a couple already this year, but not nearly as high as they have been. I mean, a lot of the restaurants along the front of the riverfront there in town, they show the various different markings. It's like, okay, in 1897 it was here, and in 1928 there was a flood up here, and so there's all these different levels that you see. But so there's all these reservoirs that have been built up along the Lima, and I don't know what the what the rules are for how they control it or when, but we noticed several reservoirs that were probably down a good 10 meters from their when they're full. But then we got to this reservoir, which is like Bande, Bande, but it happened to be full to the brim. So I'm not sure why this one would be full and the next one would be 30 meters down. Yeah, it would have been more convenient if this is the one that was 30 meters down, and we could have had a nice bathing. I actually had worn my bathing trunks, and I had my towel, and I had to change of shorts, and I was all ready to. All three of us were ready to go. But
amazing, just too flooded at this time of year.
Yeah, but it would have been fun to say, look at us on New Year's Day. But there are a couple of other thermal springs around. So we did find another one that. I didn't take pictures of that one, but it's along another tributary to the Lima, to the south, and that one was quite popular. It was probably half full of locals, on a day when nobody was out. You're driving around on these roads, and you feel like you're the only one, on the road at all, and then in every single restaurant, they're all closed, no cafes, no coffee shops, no nothing. And then you get to this one little place, and it's full of people having a nice bath. So that was quite fun.
Incredible.
We didn't go at that point because it was getting late, and sun was going down, and we were miles from home. So
sounds like a New Year's Day tradition for some people up there then. So we are talking about pretty much the area around the border between Portugal and Spain.
Yeah. If you look at a map of Spain and Portugal there, that Portugal kind of has a hat, and then it dives down and then it continues. So there's a part where Portugal has a little cap, and then it continues on, and so Spain kind of actually dives into Portugal a good bit, and that is where this region is. And apparently there's lots of hot springs and stuff. If you bring up that photo that shows the mountains in the background.
Okay, I'll find that. Can I just have a look here on this is our very own Gumper map, of course.
Yeah.
We are talking about. Where's the hat that you're talking about here, John?
Oh, scroll out.
Okay,
if you scroll out for the large, so you see the border there.
Yeah,
that's the tip. So basically, the entire Minho region is the hat.
Okay.
So because you notice there, the border comes north to south there on the east side, and then it goes east again.
There it is, Banda. I've seen that. Bande. Yeah. There you go. Okay, excellent stuff. All right, you can see hopefully you'll pop some of these things on the Gumper map for us if you've got a moment. And it sounds like you're organising a number of road trips. Is that a bit of a priority for you this year to get out and explore a little bit more of Portugal?
Well, I think so. It's like, why not? So that's as I've said before, I kind of want to be an advocate for the north here, but. And part of that is just exploring and getting to know our area. And so I've done that a good bit. And that includes excursions into Spain, into Galicia area, primarily Galicia. And this was one of those. This was on the east side of the Jerez National Park. And so in one of those pictures, you can see the jaggedy mountains in the distance, and that's the Jerez looking west from the Spain side. So
very nice. Okay, so well, keep us posted if you will. I love it when you come and visit, and we have a little bit of a slideshow. Sorry, you were asking me to show you one of the pictures again there. Which
yeah, there is one that shows the mountains in the background, not that one.
That beauty there, right? Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. So yeah, that's quite misty, mysterious looking, with the clouds, and there's those are quite jaggedy looking mountains. So it's quite and very forested. So it gives you a real sense for the region, the Jerez. So those are the Jerez Mountains in the national park, looking into Portugal from Spain.
Well, if I had to guess which part of Portugal that would be, I would say that's very northern looking and very moody in that particular picture. You also captured this for us, and I'm still confused which river it is. But to me, John, this is
the Minho.
Okay, so that's the Minho. But that was one, for me, that was one of the pictures of the year last year. Was it one of those moments where you just saw it out the corner of your eye and thought, okay, I've got to snap
Yeah, we were just driving along. We'd had a nice group dinner in Villanova on the Minho. So on the Minho River, which is the border with Spain to the north, there's Caminha, which is on the estuary, the mouth of the river, and then inland from Caminha, the next bigger town is Villanova. And that's where this picture was taken. So you're looking down the river towards the estuary, towards Caminha off in the distance there. So obviously not obviously, but this is a sunset. So you're looking west.
Yep, absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Keep those coming, and looking forward to your continued, João do Norte, tours of the north. And I'm sure you'll be visiting other parts of Portugal and Europe as well. So we look forward to pictures from those. Got a few comments coming in, and we don't have a dad joke, or we don't have our trio of dad jokes, but we did have something in from James earlier on, which we will return to. Another comment that James made was Simon and Garfunkel said it years ago: "Slow down, you move too fast. Got to make the morning last." That's right. Feeling Groovy, I think that was, wasn't it? Which is a nice earworm for everybody today. And I'll see if I can find your dad joke, a cosmic dad joke, I think it was, in a little while, James, as we conclude the show this morning. So we've had.
Hey, Carl, can you find the firework photo that we have of our house?
Yes, I can. Yeah. What was happening? Oh, and I think I missed some of your other. We've got a bit of video as well. Let me play the video that you shot yesterday.
Yeah, and it's a war zone.
No, I don't think it's that one. I think it's some more of the Roman baths here.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Let me just give you 30 seconds of video.
Give you a sense of place.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go, Owen there, and he's got a regular spot on the Good Morning Portugal again for this year, so we'll see Owen soon. And Neil, our friend Neil, so do give our best regards to Neil as well, who used to live in San Martinez de Porto, funny enough. I can't find the firework picture, John, but I do have a couple more of the Bath ruins here, or I think they're similar to Bath ruins. The first of which is this long shot here. This is presumably what you fancy plunging yourself into if you got the chance. What's this one here?
Yeah, so these are the ones. These are all underwater now. So what you see, the margin there with the woods, that's the water's all the way up to the woods now. So these are all flooded. But this is what would be there if the reservoir level was down.
Ah, okay. And we have another as well. This one, an even longer shot. It's a vast thing, isn't it? And I've been in near Condasia, near Panella, where there's a wonderful Roman ruin. And when you stand in these places, I think it's because of all the films we've seen, like Gladiator and so on. But you can get a sense, can't you, of when the Romans were in the country and what it must have been like. Does that happen for you as well?
Oh yeah, I was commenting to Owen. It's just very surreal to walk around and realize that these ruins were from the Iberian campaign that was pre Julius Caesar. So we're talking about 200 BC, something like that. So yeah, this is well over 2,000, 2,300 years ago. Anyway, close to that. And just quite amazing to put yourself in those shoes and walk about it. I get the same sense when I'm walking around with Celtic ruins and things like that. I suppose if I was in Egypt and things too, but it's these Romans, they were so relatively sophisticated with their engineering techniques and their mathematics for architecture and construction. It's just absolutely amazing. I mean, we're still using techniques that they developed, thousands of years ago.
And they had the manpower too, of course, didn't they? Probably seconded a few Iberians into the into the workforce there.
Yeah,
superb. And we have found the firework picture. Now,
there it is. Yeah.
There you go. And this could go with some of the conversation that we've been having about fireworks. I think Matty's still a little bit confused about what's been going on. What's this that Matty's asking us here? Okay, so we've got fireworks, and are they legal? Oh, yeah, I ask because it seems banned. There's no pre-midnight fireworks, and it seems to be done within 30 minutes. I'm not sure what you mean exactly there. When I was living in Amsterdam, the New Year's fireworks went off starting in November, continue to February. So the Dutch seem to like their fireworks as well. And Antonio, so some help here from Antonio F. It requires a permit, apparently, from the camera and or the police, but some people do it illegally without a permit, especially New Year's Eve and other festive occasions. So there you go. Thank you very much for that. And you may report it to the PSP police, not the GNR, but the PSP by the sound of it there. Thank you, Antonio, for your help there. And T-Duck looking for some help as well with the replacement of certain ID documents, which was the mission this morning. Does anyone know a reliable service for getting a lost residency card and driver's license replaced? That's proving to be a little bit difficult at the moment. So T-Duck looking for some help with that if you can. There was, this was more than 3 weeks ago, and I've had zero luck getting the driver's license or residency card replaced. Yeah, not looking good at IMA or IMT at the moment. Let's see how they perform as we go into 2024. No dad jokes this week. We'll be standing in line every morning at IMT, says T-Duck, until they talk to us. If you're not there 2 hours before they open, then you will not get in. That's outrageous, isn't it? What an awful situation. Near Penella, that's Rubbersale. Absolutely, Rubbersale, where, as I recall, we were standing there and a fella just picked up a dustpan and brush from behind a little wall about knee height, and he parted the gravel on the ground and the sand. And there was a beautiful Roman mosaic, just preserved by the gravel and sand above it, and it was just wonderful. Like you were saying, John, it evoked the whole sort of Roman atmosphere right there. I can imagine them, kids playing and Romans running around and just sort of living their lives on the plains there in central Portugal. Quite amazing. And again, he says, T-Duck, I'm prepared to pay a premium price to get a reliable service to handle this. So let's look into that and see what we can do for you today, T-Duck. On the own from Antonio F. So let's see if we can find that final dad joke. And wish you and Pam and everyone up there in Ponte De Lima in the north of Portugal a very happy 2024. Anything else you want to add at this special time of year, John?
Not a whole lot. Just as I'd said earlier in the chats about doing interrail research. So trying to figure out.
Okay. So anyone who's got some info on that, you're planning on doing some trips around Europe, are you, by rail?
Yeah, I mean that's the that's the whole raison d'être for the interrail supposedly. But it seems that you can't just get anything on there. A lot of the routes seem to be, I don't know, it just seems hit and miss, because it's not like they don't do high speed. They certainly can do high speed. There's plenty of routes there, but it just seems hit or miss. Like you can't get the high speed from Santiago to Madrid, but you can get the high speed from Madrid to Barcelona or to Paris. So I don't know, but we're going to be doing a trip in March to Italy. So we'll be going from here to Madrid. So basically Vigo to Santiago to Madrid. Then, so a couple days there, a couple days in Barcelona, a couple days then in Nice, and then we'll go to Milan, and then we'll take a bus probably up to Como, Lake Como, and then stay at a villa there for a few days, and then make our way to Venice, I think.
How wonderful. All by public transport?
Yeah, all train. And then we'll muddle our way back from there. So
superb. And I hope you'll send us the occasional picture. Fantastic, John. What a lovely plan for the new year. Okay, it's 1 minute past 10. We should make our way into the day. Mindful dad joke then to finish with today. A Zen master approached a hot dog cart and requests, "Make me one with everything." The hot dog vendor prepares the hot dog and hands it to the Zen master. Pays. Yes, John knows this one. Who pays with a $20 bill. The hot dog vendor puts the bill in the cash drawer and closes the drawer. "Where's my change?" asks the Zen master. The hot dog vendor responds, "Change must come from within." Excellent. So good to see you, John. Lots of love to everybody.
Hello, Louisa.
Today.
Give Minnie a hug.
We will do. Take care, everybody. Bye for now, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Yes, it's Wednesday already. Isn't it tomorrow? Hump day tomorrow. We shall see you then. Take care, everybody, and bye for now. Cheers, John. Bye for now, mate. Ciao. See you. Oh, we've got to get the outro. Where is the outro? There it is. Bye-bye.
Bom dia, Portugal! In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.